Welcome to Orn Oth's Bedtime Stories. Tonight's story, Orn Oth and the Phoenix Wings, written by Kayla Nelson and read by Orn Oth the Dragon, loosely based on Ivan and the Firebird, a Russian fairy tale. Orn Oth, the young silver dragon, was playing King of the Treasure Hoard with his friend Sully, a young green dragon, when another young dragon shyly crept up to them. Sully and Orn Oth both looked at the young, dark-colored dragon, a Styx dragon, the kind of dragon whom very few dragons trusted because of their slimy scales and scary faces. "Hi, my name is Okai, and I saw your game and was wondering, could I play with you?" she said. Orn Oth and Sully looked at each other, then back to Okai. I'm sorry, but I think this game would be hard for you," Sully said to Okai. "You might slide down the hoard." Orn Oth said nothing, a little scared of Okai. "Oh, it's no trouble for me," Okai said. "I was hoping I could even add this to the hoard game." She showed them a glittering object that she had been hiding behind her back. It was a gorgeous gold-colored dragon chair, and it would be perfect to place on top of the hoard for the game. "I'll need it back after we're done, but can I play with you?" she asked. Orn Oth and Sully considered it for a moment. They both really wanted that golden chair to sit on top of their hoard. "Okay, you can play," Sully and Orn Oth agreed. They placed the golden chair on top of the play treasure hoard and continued the game. But Sully whispered to Orn Oth, "I don't really like having a Styx dragon play with us, even if she has the perfect thing for our game." Orn Oth nodded and whispered back, "She scares me. What if she ruins the hoard game or crushes us during the game?" They endured the game, trying to focus on how perfect the chair was. Eventually, Okai's mother came looking for her, and although Okai didn't want to leave, she let her mother drag her away from the game. Lily, Orn Oth's own mother, also appeared, coming to bring Orn Oth and Sully home so they could eat dinner. "Wait, I forgot the chair," Okai said loudly to her mother, and she looked at Sully and Orn Oth, hoping they would hear her and bring it to her. Orn Oth and Sully pretended not to hear. Okai turned away from them with tears in her eyes. Orn Oth's mother saw what was happening and stopped Okai's mother. "Excuse me for a moment. Would you please wait here? I think you forgot something." She flew over to the play treasure hoard, where she instantly saw the chair, knowing it did not belong to either her son or Sully, and brought it over to Okai and her mother. "Is this yours?" she asked. "Oh, yes. I am sorry I almost left this. This is precious to us. Thank you for returning it," Okai's mother replied. "My name is Alana. I will not forget this kindness. Not everybody would do that for us. Thank you so much." "My name is Lily. I was happy to help. I wonder why my son did not notice you almost left it. Have a good evening." As Okai and her mother Alana left, Lily turned to Orn Oth with a sad look in her eyes. "Why did neither of you try to help her?" She was upset. She was leaving something of hers behind, and you knew it. You were playing with her earlier. What has she done for you to treat her this way? Orn Oth looked ashamed. He was a bit hurt by the gentle reprimand from his mother. He looked at Sully and saw that he too was ashamed. "We thought she was kind of creepy, Mom," Orn Oth said quietly. "And we've heard that Styx dragons are the worst, but she had the perfect chair for the game," he responded. Lily shook her head. You did not see her for what she truly was. She was more than a Styx. She was a dragon, just like you. Not all dragons are the same, and you know it. Come, Sully, I am inviting you over for dinner. I would like to tell you both a story, she informed them, and she guided them home, along with their little treasure hoard pieces, to eat dinner with Orn Oth's family. After dinner, Lily began the story. Once upon a time, there was a little green dragon named Sully, who had a lovely garden of golden apples, which he usually shared with his friends. But one day he noticed that some of the golden apples had gone missing. He had his friend, Orn Oth the silver dragon, come over to help him investigate who was taking the missing apples. Lily looked each of them in the eye, one at a time, as she said their names, as mothers who are making a point often do. Orn Oth and Sully hid themselves in the garden and waited for the thief. It was very tricky to stay still and quiet, but finally they saw up in the sky a red dragon wearing a glinting gold armor on his wings that shone with a golden flame. When the dragon got close, they popped out of their hiding place and roared at the red dragon to chase him away, and they scared him badly enough that he turned around and flew back to where he came from. Sully and Orn Oth resolved to follow him and ask him about the golden apples he had stolen. They both took to the sky, but could not fly high or fast enough to catch the red dragon. Soon, though, they saw the red dragon fly into the storm cloud forest, where evil clouds always form to strike down young dragons from the sky with a hammer of lightning. Lily paused dramatically, weaving her story almost too well. Sully and Orn Oth felt as though they could see themselves on this adventure. Sully shouted over the sound of thunder. They say that there are two main paths to fly here. One path must be traveled with enemies, and the other one will make enemies out of your friends. Orn Oth and Sully immediately knew which path they must take. They did not want to become enemies, so they must find an enemy to travel with. It just so happened that at that moment a young Styx dragon came by, and they called out to her. Orn Oth and Sully winced, knowing what was coming next. This young Styx dragon flew over to where Orn Oth and Sully were hovering nervously, outside the two paths to the angry clouds. Orn Oth bravely asked her if she would be willing to travel through the clouds with them. She looked sad, knowing that this meant that Orn Oth and Sully were asking her to be their enemy to travel with. She said, "My name is Okai. If you are asking me for a favor, can I ask one of you?" They didn't know what else to do, and whether they would have another chance to ask someone else for help, so they agreed. "May I have one of your golden apples? They look delicious." Sully was a little upset that she would ask such a thing, but he realized this was their only chance to catch the red dragon. He and Orn Oth agreed, and each handed her one of the golden apples they had carried with them. Okai looked at the apples with a smile on her face. "Thank you. I know this is hard for you, but I promise that I will be your friend, not an enemy. I know how to fly through these clouds, and I happen to know that the story about the paths is made up to keep younger dragons out of these dangerous clouds." Okai giggled. "You know how the older dragons are," she said. She flew with them expertly through the clouds, leading them in safety out the other side. They quickly found the red dragon's home cave and flew right in. The red dragon was surprised, but he welcomed them more warmly than they thought he would. "What can I do for you? My name is Cole. You startled me at the Garden of the Golden Apples. What is wrong?" he asked. Sully replied, "Those are my golden apples. You have been stealing them." Orn Oth nodded and said, "It would be nice if you gave them back." Cole looked surprised, and he said, "I didn't know those were yours. I was hoping, well, that I could be friends with the dragon in the big tree down the way. That's what I wanted them for." "I don't have very many dragons to talk to. Her name is Lenya. She's a fairy dragon, and she loves golden apples. But I will give them all back if you want them." But Orn Oth and Sully were transfixed by the glinting fiery wing armor that Cole had worn, and they became greedy. "If we let you keep the apples, can we play with your wing armor?" Orn Oth asked, hoping it was a fair enough trade. Cole was surprised but happy with the trade, and he agreed. "The armor is called the Phoenix Wings," Cole said. "If I may keep the apples for Lenya and me, and if you will talk to her for me, then I will let you use the Phoenix Wings." Orn Oth and Sully agreed, and they left Cole's cave, thinking how cool it would be to wear that wing armor. Oki followed them, but was quiet. They went over to Lanya's tree, and she was laughing and playing in a pond that was nearby her tree. There were beautiful crystal chimes that hung from her tree, and they made such lovely music when the breeze blew through them. Light was transformed into colorful rainbows through the crystals. Orn Oth and Sully gazed in wonder at them, and almost forgot about their promise to Cole. They shook themselves out of their trance, and asked Lanya if she would come visit Cole, and that he had a gift to give her. "How sweet," Lanya said, as she came to the edge of the pool. "I should get a gift for Cole, too. I know the perfect thing. I need you to get for me a sun plate. It is a fancy plate that all dragons love." Lanya pointed towards the base of the mountain. "You can find a sun plate in one of the giant houses around the foot of the mountain." But Sully and Orn Oth were scared of the giants that lived there, and so they felt they deserved something more for this job. "If we get the plate for you," said Sully, "then we would like to have those pretty crystal chimes hanging from your tree." Lanya looked surprised by this request. She even looked a little sad, but she really wanted to impress Cole, so she decided that she could let go of her chimes. "I will give them to you if you can borrow a sun plate," she said. At this point in the story, Orn Oth and Sully were becoming bored and groaned at Lily. "When are we going to get to the point?" Orn Oth asked. "This is a lot of favors just so we can get the golden apples back." Lily looked at each of them in the eye again. My story is almost over, but you seem to already have missed the point. Such a story never ends if you continue to be greedy, because somebody always wants something that somebody else has, Lily explained. Then she continued. They went to the base of the mountain and found one of the many giant tombs there. Okai wanted to help her new friends, so she volunteered to get the sun plate. "They will never catch me, just you watch," she said. They watched as she slipped into the giant's house and slipped out very quickly with a sun plate, a golden plate that shined, the kind that dragons love best to use. As they turned to leave, they heard a screeching voice shouting, "Give me back my sun plate! It's not yours! I haven't even finished dinner!" Terrified, they flew away, low to the ground, and when they looked behind, they found a giant chasing them. Okai made a diversion so that Sully and Orn Oth could get away, and they looked back again. They saw Okai sliding right out of the giant's arms when he caught her. She was quick and clever, and soon all got away thanks to Okai. They looked at the sun plate as they went, and Sully and Orn Oth thought, "We risked so much to get this plate, we should keep it." So, as they went to Lanya's, they found a flat, round rock, and dipped it in mud near the pond, and gave it to Lanya, saying that the plate they found was dirty, and if she cleaned it, she would find the sun plate beneath the mud. They hid the real sun plate from her view, and snatched the chimes from her tree, and flew away to Cole's cave. In his warm cave, they told him that Lanya would be coming soon to visit him. He looked so happy, and he took down the phoenix wings from the wall and let them put them on. Sully and Orn Oth knew they had better leave quickly, so Orn Oth put on the wings, grabbed a hold of Sully, and they flew out of there, leaving Okai behind. "Wait, this isn't what we promised," cried Okai, but they pretended not to listen and left her chasing after them. With the phoenix wings they navigated the storm cloud forest easily, and went back to the garden of the golden apples. They hung the chimes from the branches of the tree, flew in the phoenix wings and the rainbows of the singing chimes, and ate golden apples off of the sun plate. Orn Oth and Sully looked at each other, shocked at this turn in the story. Lily knew that they wouldn't just steal things like they did in the story, didn't she? They hung their heads a little as they realized that they hadn't been as nice to Okai earlier as they should have. Even if she had been scary, she had shared her golden chair with them for the game, and she almost didn't get it back. Lily was making some kind of sense with her long story. As they played and laughed and ate, suddenly they saw Cole, Lanya, and Okai flying through the sky towards them. Cole looked angry, and Lanya and Okai looked very sad. Before they could put on the phoenix wings again and fly away with their treasures, Cole said, "You have tricked me and stolen from me. I only did it by accident. But if you are to have our treasures, then I will take yours." And Cole and Lanya plucked all of the remaining apples from the tree and flew off. Okai cried, "No, wait!" and she tried to prevent them from taking the apples, but they flew away without looking at her. Okai looked at Sully and Orn Oth with tears in her eyes, and she said, "I did not like stealing for you, but I liked being your friend. I never had such an adventure. If I can still be your friend, let me take the treasures and help make amends." Orn Oth and Sully, who were really good dragons, looked at her valiantly and said, "You have been with us the whole time helping us. Thank you. We will come with you and fix our mistakes. We have been selfish." Orn Oth's mother paused after seeing this. Seeing the shame on both Orn Oth and Sully's faces, she continued. Orn Oth and Sully followed Okai, who flew with all the treasures, and went back to Cole's cave, where she apologized for the three of them, and gave back the phoenix wings. They thanked him for letting them play with the wings. They flew to Lanya's tree, and put the crystal chimes back in the branches, and apologized for taking them unfairly. Lanya said, "We should give the giant back the sun plate. I only meant you to ask him to borrow it." Lanya went with them to put the sun plate back in its place, but Okai stayed behind. They apologized to the giant, and Orn Oth and Sully even gave him some golden apples for his dinner. Lanya, Sully, and Orn Oth all flew back to Cole's cave, where Okai had the rest of the golden apples waiting for them. Cole said, "I am sorry I was so angry that you stole the wings from me. I was angry that you stole from Lanya, too. I should not have taken the apples. That wasn't fair of me. Let us start our friendship over." Orn Oth and Sully were very ashamed. They apologized to Cole and Lanya again, then to Okai. "If it weren't for you, we wouldn't have been able to get this far, and we wouldn't have been able to fix this," Orn Oth told Okai. "Thank you for being our friend," he said. She smiled. "You shared your apples with me, even if you didn't want to, and Cole and Lanya tried to share their treasures with you too. This is how we tried to become friends with each other." Sully thought about what she said and replied, "She's right. We have been tangled in greed with each other's treasures. I think I would like to share some of my apples with you, and we can start over." So Sully, Orn Oth, Okai, Lanya, and Cole had a fun evening at Lanya's pool, eating apples, playing games with each other, trying on Cole's phoenix wings with his permission, and listening to the beautiful sound of Lanya's chimes. Lily finished her story. She looked at Orn Oth and Sully again. "My dears, I know you are good dragons. I wanted you to see yourself in a different way. You would have no way of knowing what Okai was really like if you only looked at her, and other dragons would have no way of knowing what you are really like just by looking at you. Dragons are worth more than their treasures too. It is easy for dragons to become greedy about gold or crystal treasure. The real treasure is seeing the good in other dragons. If you get a chance to see her again, I would like you to try to see what Okai is really like, and realize that her treasure is as important to her as your treasure is to you." Orn Oth nodded at his mother, thinking about something. Sully also bobbed his head in acceptance of what Lily had said. Orn Oth turned to Sully, realizing something. "That's funny. In the story, Okai said that the story of the paths through the storm cloud forest was made up. But during the story, we had made friends of enemies and enemies of friends." Sully's eyes widened as he realized that what Orn Oth said was true. "But don't forget, at the end, we had only friends, no more enemies," Sully pointed out. "So maybe the story of the cloud paths wasn't completely false," Orn Oth said. Lily just smiled and then escorted Sully back home. The end.